Welcome back. Here in studio with me right now, we have Dr. Luz Fernandez. She is a family medicine doctor with UofL Health. Thanks so much for taking some time with us today, Dr. Fernandez.
Thank you for having me.
So, of course, it's summertime. It is the unofficial start to summer. We've certainly been feeling it outside this week. So let's start with some quick tips for keeping yourself and your family safe in the sun.
Yeah. So one of the big things you want to do is make sure that you're wearing proper clothing. So that's going to be a wide-brimmed hat that's going to protect your face from direct sun exposure. It's going to be wearing sunglasses that do cover the sides of your eyes as well. And you also want to make sure to wear loose-fitting clothing. You also want to make sure to not be outside when the UV rays are highest, which typically is between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. So if you have to be out during that time, make sure you drink lots of water, that you use the protective clothing we discussed, and if you can be in the shade, find the shade as much as possible.
Good tips. Well, we know, of course, that is best case scenario.
Yes.
If you are in the sun and you decide to use some sunscreen, what are some recommendations you have for people to make sure that they're choosing sunscreens that actually work? This was a surprise to me, that there's such thing as a sunscreen that might not actually shield you completely.
Yes, absolutely. So a few things to look for is you are going to want to use something that has at least an SPF of 30 to 50. You are also going to want to use something that is water resistant. Now, none are waterproof, so that means you have to reapply at least every 2 hours. So if you're going to be out sweating, it might be that you need to do it more often than every 2 hours. And you want to make sure that it's broad spectrum, so that you're covering both UVA and UVB rays.
And would you say that this applies for everyone in the family, parents, kids alike?
Yes. Yes, everyone in the family. And the other thing that is a bit of a misnomer is that oftentimes folks think that if they have darker pigmented skin that they won't need sunscreen, and that's not true. You should still wear a good protective sunscreen. There can still be sun damage to even darker pigmented skin.
That's really good to note.
Yes.
Any tips on if people do start to see anything weird on their skin? I know we mentioned earlier, we talked about some skin cancer signs. Anything you would like to advise on that?
Yes. So if you ever notice any kind of new skin finding, or let's say you have a mole that's been there for a while, but it starts getting larger, it becomes darker, perhaps it's itching or bothering you more, those may be signs that it's progressed to a precancerous or cancerous type skin lesion. And so we would recommend you could come and see your family doctor as a first line, and or your dermatologist.
Excellent advice. Thank you so much for your knowledge and for taking some time, making everybody a little bit safer out in the sun. We really appreciate you, Dr. Fernandez.
Thank you for having me.